You are watching The Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, your escape to reality.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Friday live stream. How's everyone doing?
Good. What's up?
Again.
Good.
Jay, you're always dark.
Yeah.
You gotta,
This weird little cave.
gotta sort out your lighting situation.
Things Jay does in the dark, in the
You
shadows.
can see my face. I can
What
turn
Jay
the
does
light
in the
on.
shadows.
Yes.
Hang
Yeah,
on,
that's
how's
better.
that? Is that better?
Yeah, it's a little better.
Yes.
I like it dark, baby.
Yeah.
Can you guys
Hey,
can you guys hear Killer like going hard on that yogurt cup?
No.
No.
Okay, good. Because he's right under my chair.
Yes. Loving the yogurt cup.
So,
Yeah.
Kara, I had a weird dream about you last night.
Oh boy.
Mhm.
You and I were in this crazy alternate reality.
Mm-hmm.
It was like we were in New York City and we're trying to get out. And
Called
the city is
2020.
changing. Yeah. The city is like kind of changing, and like every time we moved from point A to point B, it was like a different location, like a different scene, like that didn't match the previous one.
Okay.
It was
This
so
video
weird.
game?
No, I mean, it doesn't remind me of any video game I've ever played. I mean, it just was like this totally bizarro thing, and we kept trying to find our way out. Then we'd lose each other. Then we'd find each other, and then we're like, all right, we're just gonna hold hands. And I look up, and I'm holding hands with a different person. It was just so bizarre.
I love that you remember that too. I never remember my dreams.
Yeah.
Never.
Well, I remember them if
Really?
I
Very
think about
rare.
it after I wake up.
Wow.
If you review it in your head a couple of times, you'll
I
remember
feel
it.
sad for you.
Yeah, it's super rare that I remember my dreams.
Usually
When you
the
get up
ones you're
in the
having
middle
right
of the
before
night.
you wake up are the ones you remember.
Those seem to be vivid.
I used to always be like, I don't dream. And then people were like, yeah, you do. And I did some research and realized, yeah, I do.
Everybody
But-
dreams.
You would
Yeah,
be
but
in an
you wouldn't
insane
know it.
asylum if you didn't.
Yeah, sadly.
So the COVID is trugging along. The U.S. is in the midst of the second surge of the first wave, and it's worse than the first one. Now think back like a couple of months ago, April.
Well, worse how?
It's worse. It's the numbers are higher. What other criteria do you want to use?
Deaths are not higher, are they?
The new deaths, the death rate is not higher, but deaths are still climbing pretty steadily.
But can't we really kind of, in some ways, attribute the death rate being lower to the fact that we're better at treating
Yeah,
it now?
yeah. I
It's
just
not
think
as novel anymore.
we have more treatments. Yeah.
I'm actually leaving the stream early today. Hopefully not too early, maybe just a few minutes early, because I have a COVID test appointment. So I'm going to Dodger Stadium, which is one of the biggest testing sites in LA. and it's a drive-through appointment, and I'm pretty sure they're going to like swab my brain. And
Why
my
are you getting
friend,
tested?
because I'm going to get on a plane next week. And so I just want to be safe. So in LA, you can get tested if you're symptomatic or asymptomatic. And actually, if you're a resident of Los Angeles, it's free to get tested, which is great. And so my friend, I was just texting with my friend, he was like, you should live stream it on Instagram. I'm thinking about it. I don't know. I don't know if
Really?
that would be interesting to people to watch somebody go through the process of getting the test start to finish.
There are videos of it. Other people have
Maybe
done
I'll
that,
do it.
haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of nervous.
Yeah, from what Steve said, it's like they're touching the back of your inside of your head with it.
Yeah, they go way, way, way back.
But the weird thing is,
It's called
so
the brain scraper.
it's a drive-through test and they do the test, but on the website, it shows you a little like informational video, and the video is for an at-home test. So it's a mouth swab. And so I'm like, I don't know which one I'm going to get, but it shows you doing it yourself and putting it in the tube and putting it in the mailer. And I'm like, well, that's not what I'm doing.
That was the wrong video.
We'll see. Yeah. It's the only video.
Yeah.
Bob, somebody said you are literally the incarnation of Halloween.
Ah, that's a huge compliment. Just got so much stuff I want people to see it because I love it so much, obviously.
Yeah, the fake fire effect is pretty good. I wish it had a few more settings to go to. You know what I mean?
It's not even meant to be fake fire. You're talking about over here, right?
The red one, yeah.
Yeah, that's just lights, battery operated lights that you can put on little Christmas decorations, and there's a blinking mode to it, and this webcam distorts it in such a way that it looks like some sort of fire effect, but it's not.
Oh,
Kinda
cool.
It's kind of disappointed how these red ones. I mean, they look weird. I think I wanted a general glow, like the pumpkin. It's just a general all around glow. But this is like a silk material, so it's not giving that overall glow.
You need to put a diffuser in there.
I tried. Believe me, I tried. I tried different types of diffusers, and there probably could be a really optimal one. But the ones that I use, I use some of our gels. They didn't really diffuse anything. But whatever, it looks great. I think it looks really nice anyway.
Well, color gel is not made to diffuse.
Right. But it's
not,
right.
I mean, you need they make diffusion.
Yeah, they have diffuser gels.
Like wax paper kind of consistency that work really well.
Right.
I have some. I can give it to you, Bob.
Yeah, cheap.
Yeah, definitely.
You won't charge you much.
Yeah, a couple bucks here and there, you know. Evan, what is going on behind you? No, I see a lightsaber.
Oh, a lightsaber. Yeah, there's a lightsaber behind me.
Can you bring it out? I haven't seen yours in so long. I forgot all about it.
Oh yeah, this is the Luke Skywalker special, right?
That sound is so awesome.
Classic.
Did you know that whenever they filmed anybody in Star Wars using a lightsaber, that a big problem that they have with the actors is they make lightsaber sounds when they're sword fighting
with their mouth? Yeah.
Yes, it's something that they don't. It's a phenomenon that happens because people know it and are so aware of it and miss it when the sound isn't there that they can't help but vocalize it a little bit.
Sort of like the blaster, pew pew.
Yeah. Do they go pew pew pew?
Pew.
If you look at scenes of how they shot, I think Return of the Jedi, you see the raw footage that they shot. They put caps or something like it in those guns. So when the actors pulled the trigger, there was something audible almost for them to react to. I imagine it helps with the techniques for acting and whatnot.
And which movie was that?
I saw the making of Return of the Jedi.
Because I know that the first three movies, from what I read, they were shooting legit blanks because those were functioning weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they sound like cap guns going off effectively.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I imagine, why do that? Because there must be something else you get out of the actors as a result. I imagine they've studied that. Otherwise, why do it?
Yeah, I would imagine it would help if you're miming shooting a blaster, that there's some kind of tactile and audible feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that helps. I mean, it's very difficult to pantomime objects with weight. Or, if something is like, if a gun is going off, it's a hard thing to fake.
Yeah, and my pet peeve, empty coffee cups. Have we talked about that? You see people swinging around these cups, and you know that it's empty because we just know how to recognize something with heft, with mass, and they always have these empty coffee cups on TV shows, and it's so annoying.
Well,
and
plus, where's the steam coming off of it? Are they all drinking room temperature coffee? Is that what's going on?
I mean, usually it'll have a lid and stuff, so you don't need to see steam, but you need to have that heft. And to me, it just pulls me right out. And they do it for, they have reasons, because if you don't want coffee spilling or liquid spilling and on the set and on all this stuff. But still, I mean, put something in there, because it's just one of my pet peeves. What could I say?
Yeah. So, Kara, I'm curious. How is it okay for you to travel? I thought it wasn't okay for us to travel.
I mean, what do you mean by okay? That's a very
Scotland is accepting Americans.
Yeah, that's the question.
Accepting Americans. UK is not part of the European Union anymore.
Yeah.
They Brexited.
I know. Yeah. So the EU is banning Americans, but not Great Britain, not the UK.
Not yet. Yeah. UK people can't come to the US, which is pretty messed up. Which is why I have to go there, because the person I'm seeing can't come back here. And then, of course, coming home, you can always come home. That's considered essential travel.
Yeah.
So the real risk for me is going to be being on the plane, right? That's the risk. I'm getting a COVID test now, so I'm going to be able to say that I'm negative. Hopefully, obviously, if it's positive, I won't go. But if it's negative, I'll be able to at least show that. I got tested just a few days before I left, which I think just gives me a little bit more satisfaction. You have a forced 2-week quarantine. You have to show that you're going to a domicile and that you're going to quarantine there for 2 weeks, which is fine. But honestly, I think the place I'm going is much safer, and spending 6 weeks sort of in the countryside away from the city is going to be healthy for me. I've been living alone through all of this, which starts to kind of eat away at you after a while. So I think it'll be good to get away. I'll work on my dissertation a little bit and get some fresh air.
Yeah, cool. What are you going to do with Killer?
Oh, my assistant actually usually stays in my house when I'm out of town. And she and Killer are really, really close. She has roommates, so she shares a place with a bunch of people. Not a bunch. I think she has 2 roommates. So it's nice when she gets to come and stay in my house and kind of make her own. Yeah.
So speaking of fresh air, I saw a thing about planes and how safe is a plane. So one guy went through a plane and they did a little demo, and they showed that the air is coming in from above and then it's sucked in from below, which is good because it's not going across people, right? It's going from above to below. And they said that they've got these big heavy duty industrial HEPA filters everywhere, and they replace them twice as often as recommended. So that made me feel a little bit better about flying on a plane. And also, I think every 4 minutes, the air is completely exchanged, and they bring in some air from the outside as well to help replenish it. So that made me feel a little bit better. Still, I'd be so nervous on
the thing is, if somebody on the plane has it, I might get it. There's a real chance.
Right. If somebody next to you sneezes in your face, I don't care what kind of HEPA filters or what kind of air exchange, you are infected.
I mean, the good news is you do have to wear a face covering. Everybody will be wearing a mask. That'll help. Hopefully they're still distancing the planes. Hopefully there's no middle seats, which I think will help. Yeah. I have a window seat. From what I've read, I think that's the safer kind of place to be. There's less chance if you're towards the wall than if you're right in the middle of the plane. I'm always a window seat person anyway. What about you guys? Are you window seat people?
Oh yeah,
generally.
What's going on outside for sure.
But I often have to sacrifice the window seat for either my wife or my child. So
that's sweet. I've met people who are I'm aisle all the way, and I'm I don't understand you.
Well, they want to go to the bathroom without jumping over a bunch of sleeping people.
I'll just jump over the sleeping people.
I like the window.
Some people are easier to jump over than others.
Yeah. If I feel claustrophobic or anything in a plane, looking out the window usually helps a lot. So, but again, I'm with Evan. I'm not the most important person in my family anymore. But,
yeah, I agree.
If I'm traveling with my kids, they get whatever seat is best for them.
Yeah. And I have, I'm a very seasoned traveler. I travel a lot. So I have like my whole kit. If I'm lucky enough to be traveling for work, usually I'm also lucky enough to be traveling business class, so I don't have to bring as much stuff. But if I'm paying for my own tickets, I can't afford that. So I have this amazing, like, inflatable cube that it's a quick inflate and a quick deflate, and you put it at your feet. And so for you guys, it might seem like that's pretty uncomfortable. Jay, you're a pretty tall guy, right? So like having the whole footwell space filled up with this inflatable cube seems weird. But for me, it allows me to curl up in the fetal position more comfortably. My feet don't keep slipping off the seat every time I'm trying to sleep. And it gives me just a little bit more room to kind of lay out. So it's one of my favorite.
How is it a quick inflate? Does it have like a CO2 cartridge or something?
No, it just has a really big, it's not like one of those little squeeze ones. It's a really big hole that you can blow in, and it takes a lot of air. It also has a pump, and then it's a quick deflate in that you can push into that inflate piece, and it just like compacts really quickly. Everybody looks at me like I'm, Bananarama when I'm inflating it. Like the whole plane watches. And then I see these people, usually it's like girlfriends and wives and stuff, being like,
where'd you get that? Where'd you get that?
It's got the cube. Yeah, my wife has a bunch of airplane gadgets, and she has one of those things, and she's small, and it's great, but my knees hit the seat in front of me when I sit in an airplane. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's pretty. I could see why then people like to have kind of aisle seats and things like that. But, this time I'm just going to have lots of hand sanitizer. I have some medical grade masks that I'm going to bring for the plane ride. I've got my cloth masks for once I'm on the ground in the city and like doing my regular kind of stuff. But I'll probably change my mask at each airport or each leg. I'm only doing 2 quick legs. It's LA straight to Heathrow, and then Heathrow straight to Edinburgh, and then the rest of it's driving. So shouldn't be too bad.
And you'll be out and you're gone for 6 weeks.
6 weeks, yeah, which will be, I think, really nice. So plenty of time to quarantine to know if anything's up. And really, because I don't have work other than the podcasts, which I can do from anywhere, because my show got canceled and school starts September 9th. So my biggest stressor right now in my life, you guys, is finding my next practicum placement. It is killing me. I've reached out to like 60 sites in LA. I've gotten nearly 30 rejections. I have 5 leads right now, but all of them are like not very solid leads. So anybody watching, if you know a licensed psychologist who would like a trainee this coming fall, especially in the LA area.
The only thing I can offer you, Kara, is Xanax.
That doesn't help.
And even then.
It's the hard thing is that's the reason I'm in school now. I only really have 1 class left. So paying full tuition, if I'm not seeing patients, I'm going to have to take more leave, I think, because it's just not reasonable to pay tuition and not be getting any of those milestones done. I wish I could just work on my dissertation, but pushing it back that much is just going to be way too expensive, I think. Yeah.
So the latest thing that's pissing me off in the news is this whole kids going back to school, or people in general going back to school, and how is the federal government and the schools handling the problem of going back to school. I'm very worried as a father with 2 children who are both going to be in school this year. My daughter is starting kindergarten, because they're saying right now they're going back and the kids are supposed to wear masks.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Olivia in a mask.
Could you imagine? Like, that might last about 15 seconds.
I know. Like, what's the point of a mask if
Not
they're
even
just
that long.
touching it the whole time and moving it? And I've seen some images of kids in like South Korea, and they wear face shields, and it seems to be a little bit more convenient for them. So they're on their head here, and it's just a big piece of plastic, and they don't seem to be touching their faces as much.
That sounds like a great idea. Like, they have them. I actually have one in the studio. It's like it just slips over your head like a ring. And then you have the mask that comes down.
I think the kids would futz with it less.
Yeah, maybe.
And it doesn't really block their vision or do anything weird.
Yeah, so my daughter's going back. She's going to be a senior in high school. But they keep sending us updates because they don't know what's going on. But the plan right now is they're thinking of 2 days a week. So, but it'll be different days for different students, so that there's only going to be half as many or a little bit less than half as many students there at any one time, 2/5, I guess. So that's how
So
they're
is it
going
half
to.
online then, Steve? When you're not
And
at
then
school,
more
you're
online, and then you'll be online for the other time. So
And it's so different, right, from region to region. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
seeing all the comments in the chat of like, what are you guys doing over there in the U.S.? It's bad. I read some article about a woman who was talking about the fact that she is expected to have her child sit in front of the laptop from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. with
Sure.
only a 1 hour break. And the teacher, something about the teacher was only working 1.5 hours of that. And the rest was like pre-recorded lessons. And so then it's like, so basically the mother has to do the job of the teacher for free?
I don't get it. We struggled so hard.
might as well
Kara, with
homeschool.
Right?
The homeschooling is difficult, especially for kids who aren't used to it. So it was pandemonium in my house. Like it was so
Pandemonium.
hard. And I
Love
was
that
asking
word.
the teacher for advice, and she was saying it's just a different environment at school. Like they've been trained at school to behave differently than they will at home. And your kids treat you as the parent differently than they treat their teachers.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
It's
And
tough, man.
I was just talking to my previous supervisor at my last practicum placement because she does a lot of child psychology, and she's gone completely into teletherapy for the time being. And I was like, is it working with your kids? And she's like, not most of them, honestly. Like some of them can sit there through the session, but the hardest thing with oppositional children is that you have to establish kind of like boundaries, and you have to establish roles. And when they can literally just shut the laptop, or they can just wander off, like all bets are off.
Yeah.
There's all these barriers that are making it much more complicated for sure.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to pay very close attention. I want to virtually attend a town hall meeting just to hear what people are saying in the town. You know, I tend to not want to get too overly involved with town politics because I just don't want to be inundated with other worries. You know,
Yeah.
like there's already so much stuff. But I have to get involved in one way or another just to make sure I hear what's happening.
Yeah.
You'll be president of the PTA in 3 months, Jay.
I know.
my prediction.
Yeah, that's the thing.
luck,
I know
Jay.
myself. I know if I show up and people start talking to me, then I'm going to be like, I can help. Yeah, like I have the time. What do you guys know about the tropical storm?
What do you want to know?
And the wind's blowing outside right now.
Did it make ground yet?
I have no idea.
Wait, tell me.
Good
I'm on a
question.
completely different coast. What's going on?
Yeah,
We have a
apparently
tropical storm.
there's a tropical storm that's going to hit ground soon.
But is it like
Tropical
in
storm
Florida, or is it up
Faye.
where you guys
Oh
are?
no, it's off the coast of New Jersey right now.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it's not that far away from us.
And is it cold there
See.
right now? Is it like a nor'easter, or is it nice and warm?
It's
humid,
muggy.
tropical.
Yeah, supposed to be very, very muggy,
Yeah.
very hot.
I mean, let's see where it is.
6 minutes ago. Let's see weather.
All right, time for a group picture. I'm tired of getting weird faces
group
when
picture?
I take it surreptitiously.
Oh, a
Ready?
screenshot.
3, 2, 1. Got it.
Steve
Steve, nice
doesn't
smile.
give a shit. That's
What?
right. He doesn't care at
Unfazed.
all.
Unfazed. Yeah, it's the center of Tropical Storm Faye is at Atlantic City right now, as of 10 minutes ago.
So what's the projected path? Because I'd love to know if I have to worry about yet another thing.
Don't worry, Trump will just write it in and sharpen.
Yeah, he'll draw in like
He'll
the
just tell
path
it where
that
to
he
go.
wants it to go.
That's how that works.
Looking for the path. Where's the path? Go ahead, keep talking about it. I'll look for the path.
All right. What else is new in you guys' lives?
Somebody had a question when you mentioned dreaming, Kara. Somebody said, how do we know we're not in a dream right now? And I have an answer for that. There's two good ways to determine if you're in a dream or not. Two tests. One is try to break the laws of physics, because if you break them, you're probably dreaming. So one is
Busted.
One is to jump in the air and try to slow your descent, even a little bit, because if you do it a little bit, then yeah, you're dreaming. The other one, which I prefer, is to read something. You read a sentence, a few words, you look away, and then you look back. And if you're dreaming, almost invariably, those letters will be different. And if that happens to you, you're either doing some really good drugs or you're dreaming.
Yeah.
So for what it's worth, that's how you tell if you're in a dream. And I've tested all of those, and when I was into lucid dreaming, it's cool and it works.
When I dream, the handful of times that I have remembered them, I always flew.
Oh God, that's
Every dream.
Oh,
I feel like
flying's
that must
great.
be every dream I fly.
Or
That
those are the
is
ones
a-
you remember.
Or my sample is really weird and biased. That those are. I only remember times when I was flying. But when I fly in
That's
dreams,
the goal.
I don't fly like a bird. I fly like I'm doing the breaststroke.
Yeah.
How do
I've
you
done
guys
that.
fly in dreams?
When I've done it like Superman, and it's hard. I mean, only a couple of times have I done it really well. Most of the time, it's like I can't do it.
Why
and
is that?
you
This is the part I just don't get. That actually frustrated me my whole life.
Why isn't
That's
it
cool.
easier to fly in your dreams?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
the whole
why-
like the breaststroke bullshit and all that. Like there was I had a dream this year, like my recent memory, where I was like Bob said, like I actually was in control, super fast. I never could get to the speeds that I want to. I'm always like just subpar flyer. Like why can't we just do what we want? I don't get it.
Mine
It's
is
in our
always
head.
about height. It's not about speed. So I do this thing where I like run and then I get a little bit of air and then I can like push myself higher like this.
Yeah.
Like catch the air and then go higher and catch the air and go higher. And then I can look down at things and people are like, wow, that's badass. And then I hang out in rafters and stuff.
Because that's what you know. That's you
Right?
swimming. It's like swimming. That's what
It's
you
like
know.
swimming.
That's what
Yeah.
you've done. So that's
I have
what
a
you
hard
do
time
in
with the
dreams.
landing without waking myself up because you go into a free fall almost, and it's hard to control the
You
descent.
land in your dream? I don't think I've ever landed
Yeah,
in my
You
dream.
never landed?
But I usually when
Why
I
land,
fly
man?
in my dreams, it's a sheer act of will. I don't have to move. But it is
Yeah,
hard
the
to
thought.
keep altitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's hard. Yeah, it's not effortless. Sometimes it's a lot better than other times, but then it's usually within the same dream. Like I lose the neck. Like it just becomes harder and harder to do what I want to do.
Kara, somebody wrote that you're a bat.
That would be the closest thing, right? Because they are mammalian.
Jay, guess what I got?
But
I got lucid dreaming goggles.
oh
These are
my
like-
God, Bob, if they work, let me borrow them.
So what this is it's like, what do you call those things you put on your eyes to
Sunglasses.
No. When you try to sleep, just to block
Cucumbers.
the light.
Needles.
A mask. A sleep mask.
A sleep
Sleep
mask.
borders.
So it's like
Yeah.
a sleep mask, but it's a lucid dreaming mask. So
Eye
it's not
mask.
very. It's only maybe this thick. It's very thin, and then you could program it to when it detects when you're having REM sleep, rapid eye movement, when you're actually dreaming. It detects that, and then it flashes a light, and it's very tweakable. You could make it flash quick or bright or dim or slow, whatever works for you, and then you will see that light in your dream. And you could use that as a trigger to say, oh, this is a dream. I'm seeing the blue light. I'm dreaming. And because that's typically what's hard when you're lucid dreaming is to realize, oh, I'm dreaming. This isn't reality. This is all in my head. And then from there, you could then explore your lucid dream and try to achieve like a high level of lucidity, which is really
Lucid
difficult.
dreaming sounds like a mind fuck. I have no
It is.
interest in doing that.
It is amazing. It is amazing. It is amazing.
It's hard to maintain though, because it's an inherently
yes.
unstable condition.
You could dream. Yeah, you could dream that you wake up. There's lots of ways.
Yeah.
Lots
So
of ways.
Sounds
somebody in
like
the
I would
chat-
panic.
In the chat,
No.
somebody mentioned that they dream that they have to go to the bathroom and they can never find a bathroom. And do you guys have it? I do that as well. Do you guys have it?
Yeah, but I have to pee in real life. That's the problem.
I know that's the thing. You
My-
have to
Right.
pee in real life, so you dream
Yeah.
you have to pee, and you can't find a bathroom in your dream,
Which
'cause
is
you,
good because
you
if
can't
found
Because you
actually
don't want,
relieve
right.
yourself.
Be a
Your-
problem.
No, wait.
Your body's doing what
But
it's
I
supposed to do.
do. I will dream that I'm peeing
Yes.
in my dream without.
You never feel like you're done.
But you're never done, right? Yeah, because it's
Well, it's a good
not
thing you
relieving
don't
you.
really
I have
act
to take a
that
call,
out.
guys. Hang on a second.
Okay.
Oh, sure, no problem. All right,
So
so,
here's-
cool.
wait.
Coolest thing about my dreams. Go ahead, Bob.
Yes,
Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Evan.
I like when I'm able to look up at a nighttime sky in my dream, and
Yeah.
it is like this unidentifiable pattern of stars, planets, all kinds of wacky stuff going on in the
Evan,
sky.
me too.
And
There's
I know
like
that I'm dreaming at
meteorites
that
on
point.
fire and stuff, right?
Crazy stuff, like
Yes.
planets eclipsing each other, like in the sky, and I'm like, this is the best. I'm on like the best
All right. Have
possible
you ever
trip
had
I
it?
think I could ever be.
Yeah, you're looking up at the sky is always a bizarre, wondrous experience in a dream. But have you ever dreamed like there's a plane or something flying, and then it crashes like
Yes,
very close
disaster
to you?
dreams.
It like
Disaster
invades
dreams,
your space
definitely.
and crashes.
Definitely. What does that signify? Is that a
Nothing.
I don't
My dreams
ever-
are perfect.
buildings will collapse for no reason?
I don't
No,
have
yeah,
like nightmares or night terrors. My last boyfriend used to have really bad night terrors, and he
My
would wake
first
up
wife did.
screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I would ask him what he was dreaming, he was always being chased by something. Like he was always under attack, and I was like, God, that sounds stressful. But my worst stress dream, I've told you guys this before on the show, I think, but for people who are tuning in. Anybody in the chat, if you live in Texas, say hello. So when I lived in Texas, born and raised, so I lived there till I was 24, I was obsessed with Shipley donuts. They were like my favorite donuts in the world. We all would say Shipley's, but apparently that's wrong. And I think I've told you guys that I have stress dreams where I'm trying to get to a Shipley's before they close. Because they close like early in the day and you're like, oh, I just want Shipley's donuts. And it's like, I can't find the one, or like I'm in New York City and they finally put one up in New York City, but it's in this weird like mini mall and I can't find it. And I'm stressed. And then I'd wake up from that and I would be like relieved because Shipley's, it's morning and I could easily go to Shipley's, but then I'd realize I live in LA and we don't have Shipley's. And so it's like an extra like sad letdown. And I haven't had Shipley's donuts in years and years and years.
Now I have to have a
Gotta fix
Shipley
that.
donut. I'm angry.
They're amazing. And
Someone's
a
got to
kolache.
ship us some Shipley donuts.
So I have
Very
a
nice with a
reoccurring
kolache.
thing that happens to me. It's a weird thing where I'm like I'm looking for my wife and I'm with someone else that doesn't look like my wife, but they're my wife in my dream. But part of my brain knows that they're not right. I'm like, okay, I'm with my wife, but I'm looking for Courtney, my wife. And, it's just an oddball thing. I'm like,
Dream wife. Interesting.
So
concept.
I'm always like having this really weird thing, like something's wrong, but my brain can't figure it out in my dream. So there's this profoundly wrong thing going on in my reality that I can't figure out. And I hate those because they just make me very upset.
That means you
love
want to
my
get
wife.
divorced.
Yeah.
That's not
So if anyone's interested in lucid dreaming, a couple of tricks that I've learned. One of the biggest problems with lucid dreaming is that you lose yourself back into the dream and you're not lucid any longer, or you feel yourself waking up. You actually can tell that, oh God, I'm waking up. I don't want to wake up. So one way to prevent that happen is to look at your hand, because for some reason, when you look at your hand, it grounds you into the dream in such a way that you don't wake up or you don't lose your lucidity. So that's one trick. Another trick is if you want to meet somebody, say you want to talk to Einstein or a celebrity or whoever, you spin around thinking of that person. And when you stop spinning, often the person is there. Like Einstein would be there. I've done that. I've done that, and it works.
Idiosyncrasies?
No, I've read these. Stephen LeBerge is one of the big lucid dreaming experts. He did lots of studies. This is years ago. I don't know what the state of the art is necessarily right now, but this is one of the tips that he learned by interviewing and lucid dream experts, people that do it all the time.
So is there a danger
and it
in
works.
this, Bob? Like,
No,
or
not at
Steve,
all.
I'd be interested in your
Not at
take.
all.
Like when we try to understand dreams, we know we have to dream, right? We know that organisms do it. Organisms that have a certain level of like gray matter do it, and we know that that sleep is necessary, that dreaming's necessary. We know that it has kind of restorative properties. We don't fully understand exactly what's happening. It could be that this random asynchronous firing is helping to kind of settle in our memories of the day, or there's all these different theories.
defragging our brain.
Exactly. There's a lot of different ideas.
Consolidate memories into long term.
But if you're forcing
like
yourself to be lucid during your dreams, do you think that that's interrupting the process at all?
No,
not at all.
Really?
no, I don't think so.
I don't know that
My
that's
research.
I don't know why it's such an easy no.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that it's been studied specifically.
I've read a lot about it. Not recently. Like I said, I'm not aware of the state of the art right now. But everything I've read, nothing ever mentions anything about that. People who do it like every night, there's never been any mention that I've come across
That they have like psychological or neurological or health deficits.
All that's happening is you're reaching a critical threshold. I guess what is it, Stephen? Your frontal lobe, you're reaching a critical threshold of that part of your brain that's being engaged, and that's so your reality check kind of kind of comes in, because if you're dreaming and you're shopping, say in a dream, and you see a pink elephant walk by, you're like, hey, pink elephant. It's nothing unusual.
Yeah, nothing's
to you
weird.
because you don't have a lot of, say, neurons in your frontal lobe. I'm not sure that's the best way to describe it, Steve, firing. But when you reach that critical threshold where you reality checking comes in, you're like, whoa, what's a pink elephant doing in this grocery store? And
But
that's
what I'm
when
saying
you
is
become lucid.
maybe there's a benefit to not having executive control for a while. Like a true psychological and neurological benefit to relinquishing executive control while you're asleep. You know,
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's no
think-
question that it's a different state, right? That
Yeah.
lucid dreaming is a different state.
than classic REM sleep.
Yeah.
And so having that
the
kind
more
of
your
default,
brain is active.
right? Having that sort of default mode, network change, having these different brain states. I mean, we know they're necessary. Obviously, probably if people lucid dream, they're not doing it every time they dream. So maybe that's why.
It's probably just
That's-
not.
yeah.
It's an insignificant amount of your sleep
Exactly.
cycle.
Exactly. You can't. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't. No one's ever been able to lucid dream every minute that they're having REM sleep. But it's not just a playground for talking to Einstein and having sex or whatever you want to do. It's also if you use it right and can do it well, you can do things like experiment with things that you are afraid to do in real life, like say talking in front of a live audience. You could do things if you have a sufficient amount of control that really give you a testing ground and make you more comfortable in doing it in real life. To me, the benefits far outweigh any potential downsides.
Yeah, but is that a proven benefit or a hypothetical one? Because I don't know that, again, because even if you're lucid, it's still not like the same as being fully awake.
Yeah, it's still altered consciousness.
there's-
Like, are
there's
you
levels-
actually less afraid after
Yeah.
you've practiced?
There's levels of lucidity. If you've done it, I've done it a bunch of times. There's levels of lucidity from minimally lucid, like, oh yeah, I think this must be a dream, to a fully lucid, or as fully lucid as you can get, where I know I'm in bed right now. This is all a creation of my mind. And then you just go explore. So, and it's hard to be really good at it and have a full lucidity every time, but you can do things that you wouldn't necessarily want to do in real life because it's something that's intimidating to you. And to me, another way to look at it, I would love to be 100% lucid in a dream all the time, because it gives you more time where you're like, to me, it seems like such a huge waste. If you live to be 100 years old,
Sleeping.
you live to be, it is, as much as I love sleeping, and sleeping is awesome. If you live to be 100, that's 30 years or more where you're laying in bed doing nothing.
Do you know how much I would love for you to be my patient, Bob, even though it's so unethical?
Get you on the couch,
having
Bob.
a real deep existential conversation about how important it is to not do anything and how important it is to not be constantly efficient in your life.
Believe
but
me,
to just
I'm really good.
disconnect and do nothing.
I'm really good at not doing anything. Trust me on that.
Then don't
but
worry
30
about
years,
wasting your dream hours.
No,
It's
I
very
know.
important.
It's a lot. I think sleep, like I said, sleep is awesome. I look forward to it. I love being asleep. But 30 years in bed, if I live to be 100, to me, that sucks. That really sucks. That's a huge chunk of time where you're just unconscious. To me, if we could do away with that through some technology, I would jump on that, because
But it
to
makes
me,
it
it's
so
a
that your
waste.
conscious waking hours are much better. And that's the important
Yeah, you
thing.
need it. You need it. Without REM sleep, you will slowly go nuts and then
You'll
probably die.
die,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, it's critical, and we will probably we might never be able to get rid of that by some therapy or intervention. I don't think we'll ever be able to get rid of that, because it's embedded in our evolution, in our humanity. And I mean, almost every creature on Earth sleeps. Not all of them. But it's just something that we really need, and we're not sure why it's so important.
And that's
But
the
to
big
me-
thing. I don't.
Right.
The fact that we don't even understand exactly how it works and
Right.
exactly why we need it means that we can't just supplant it with something else.
Right. Now, maybe in the future we'll be able to do something like minimize it. Like, you only need 2 solid hours of sleep every night. Imagine what you could accomplish if you.
I think that would be
could
bad
knock
for
out-
humanity. I think we already societally, especially in the West and
Right.
specifically in America, but also in a lot of other Western nations, we work, our hours are too long as it is. We don't take enough vacation. We are too obsessed with efficiency and with productivity. And I don't think it's psychologically healthy. I don't think it's good for our culture. I don't think it's good for our humanity. And I think
Well-
that having that opportunity will only be capitalized on in a negative way.
Well, maybe there would be a lot of people capitalizing it in a negative way, but I think there'd be a lot of people that wouldn't. I mean, with an extra, say, 5 or 6 hours a day, I could get a PhD. I could catch up on my Netflix binging like you wouldn't believe. I could exercise more. I could read more. I mean, there's so much I would want to do.
But also, Bob, probably what this is telling you is not that you need more time, but that you're not utilizing the time you have appropriately. So it's about taking a step back and saying, what can I do in my life to have more leisure and to do the things that I really want to do and prioritize them? This is why death is important. This is why we shouldn't live forever, because it gives us that reflection point.
Nobody can seriously recommend living forever because it's impossible. I mean,
of course. But even an extended period of time at a certain point becomes meaningless. You have to know about your mortality to be able to fully fulfill your experience on Earth.
If I could live for 2,000 years, that's still very mortal. And I would still love to live for a couple thousand years, read all the books that I want to read, watch all the stuff I want to watch. 2,000 is still extremely brief in the grand scheme of things. And we'll get to the point where we can live that long. I don't know how long it's going to take, 2 centuries, whatever. I think it'll happen. And people will look back and be like, whoa, Kara was so wrong about this 2 millennia ago. So wrong about
speaking
this.
of death and dreams, since you brought it up, every once in a while, I'd say every couple, maybe months or a couple times a year, I will dream of Perry. Perry will and it is indistinguishable from reality for me, because he will all of a sudden be there as if he was just, took a trip for, 11 years to 12 years and just, he's back. And now let's catch up what's been happening over the last 12 years. Where have you been? And I cannot in the dream either wake myself out of it or discern that I'm in a dream. It feels that real to me. It's it's pleasant in one way and disturbing in another.
And it also, I think, goes to show that when we talk about, and I think as skeptics, we love to talk about these interesting boundary topics like near-death experiences and things like that. It goes to show why a lot of the dream states that people have when they're oxygen deprived or when they're experiencing something really stressful are indistinguishable from reality. Like, I saw my mother at the end of the white light and, she was telling me to turn back around and I have more time to live. Like,
that's powerful for a lot of people.
It's super powerful.
Well, that's because you're always evaluating, you're always judging the experience with the same brain that's generating the experience. And so it seems real to your brain at the time. Just why dreams seem real and compelling to your dreaming self, even when you try to think about them when you're awake, like, well, that doesn't make sense to my waking self. Yeah, because it's a different consciousness. But Evan, I've had dreams about people that I know who are dead, and Perry is a common with my father now, where they're like alive and walking around and interacting in the dream, but they're also dead. Like the fact that they died is part of the dream.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, you're dead, but you're still around. And like the contradiction just doesn't come to the fore in the dream,
because you're not lucid dreaming.
It's like Perry, after you died, this happened. Like, but I'm talking to him, you know what I mean?
Like,
It's such a cool thing about reality testing. And I think it's a really good window into trying to empathize with an individual who's experiencing psychosis. Because a lot of times we like to say, I can't imagine what it's like to have a psychotic episode or psychotic break. And really we can't ultimately. But the fact that we kind of have psychotic episodes every night when we sleep is really interesting, So things can seem very, very real, even if they're not consensually to everybody else.
Yeah.
So the hurricane path.
Oh yeah.
Is it a hurricane?
Link on that.
No,
it's tropical storm.
The tropical storm path is going to go up the western coast of Connecticut, and it's going to be half in New York State, half in Connecticut, then half in New York State, half in Massachusetts. Then it's going to hit the upper left-hand corner of Vermont.
When's it hitting us? Today or tomorrow? Tonight or tomorrow?
Probably tomorrow. And then it goes up into Canada.
Oh, I see what you mean. Is there any information about what the wind speeds will be, or how dangerous it'll be once it makes landfall?
I didn't see that. I mean, it usually loses steam as it passes
Yeah.
over land, and it's
Yeah.
it's not like riding the coast; it's going over land, so it's going to probably,
So it'll just probably turn into bad thunderstorms and stuff.
hopefully,
It'll just be a bad storm.
Yeah.
Basically.
Hopefully you don't get more trees knocked over.
yeah, right. I know the tornado that tornado cost me about $10,000.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
Terrible.
man.
Ugh.
Yeah, yeah. Every tree is $1,000.
Yeah.
a big
Luckily,
tree,
the trees that fell in my yard were far enough away. I didn't have to do anything about them except cut them up into firewood.
Steve, one of the listeners on the stream says, "Upload the show before your power goes out."
Yeah, right.
I'm actually working on the show today
Okay.
and after I'm done with this, I have to finish post-production on the show, which I hate doing it in the evening because I'm a morning person. I know I'm going to be falling asleep like at the computer doing post-production. Because I have a clinic tomorrow. This is a COVID clinic because of all the backlog of patients. They freaking added a clinic on Saturday. I have to do a few Saturday clinics over the summer, and tomorrow's one. So that's normally when I do post-production on the show.
Do you guys think I should bring Killer to my drive-through COVID test?
I wouldn't.
Have a little cheerleader in the passenger seat?
I
You
don't
don't
know,
think
I
so?
just-
So
I mean,
Then I can give him
not?
kisses
It's a
after.
random
Do you
variable.
get out of the car or not? You don't get out of the car.
No, you don't get out of the car.
Then you can bring him, sure.
Yeah, he just sleeps in the passenger seat on his bed. But yeah, they roll down the window and they stick the thing up your nose, and I'm sure you sign something, or maybe you don't. Show him
No,
a
I
number.
don't think so. Evan, tell us about those numbers behind you before we go to the quiz. We're doing a quiz, right, Jay?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So I've got 4 sets of numbers back here, and there were yes, we've had some correct guesses. Nicholas was the first one to guess correctly. Well done, Nicholas. So we have the first number, 1.56 times 10 to the negative 5. And then it's 4.24 times 10 to the 0, 4.37 times 10 to the 0, and 4.37 times 10 to the 0 power.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 10 to the 0 power is
1.
1. Very good.
Yeah.
So those last 3 numbers are all just 4.24, 4.37, 4.37. What do those numbers ring a bell at all to anyone? No? Bob,
4 foot
you
1.
especially, Bob?
Oh,
How about
I'm like,
1.5? How about, okay, so now we've got this top number, 1.56 times 10 to the negative 5 power. So we're talking about something that's pretty much significantly smaller than these other numbers.
Yeah.
Right.
So what we have here are the distances from the Earth to the 4 closest stars, starting with our
cool.
own in light years. Starting with our own
4.24. That's Proxima Centauri.
Proxima Centauri, exactly right. And then 4.37 is shared
Bernard
by.
star?
I'm sorry.
Is that Bernard? No, Bernard Star is farther away.
No, those
Yeah,
are
Bernard
all
stars-
those are all in the Proxima system.
Yeah, that's
they're
right.
Too close. Yeah.
The
That's
Centaur
right.
system.
Bernard's
yeah.
like 6.
Alpha A and
I
Alpha
think.
B are the 2, and because they're binary,
They're basically the same distance.
Yeah, they're effectively the same. One goes a little closer, the other goes, every 80 or so years they revolve, so it varies. So I decided
Nice.
close enough that they're equal, and that is what the numbers represent.
I
So,
would
well
never
done,
in
Nicholas.
a
Very
million
good job.
years have guessed that.
Yeah.
Sure, you could have. No, a little too
I don't
obscure,
know.
a little too difficult.
I just don't think I would have thought about it.
You got what the trick to these puzzles I'm doing is to try to make them Google proof, because if I just throw a bunch of numbers or letters or things up there and people just start Googling, what fun is that? So I have to come up with some patterns and some other things that are not easily Googleable. That's a new word.
Yeah.
Write that down, Karen.
Googleable? Yeah.
Googleable.
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 So, but there were correct answers, and well done, everyone.
Lovely gloog.
All right. Shall we do the quiz?
Yeah, let's get to the quiz.
Yeah. I'm gonna try and get it done before I have to go.
All right, I'm setting it up.
All right.
now.
Any differences, Jay, from last time? Any
Nothing to the interface.
No, yeah, it should be the same.
Yeah, it'll work.
Killer, do you want to help
Okay.
out with the quiz? He's just like doesn't give a shit, just like lounging in his bed. Let's see.
There he
All right,
is.
so the address is darkenergy.games.
That game.
All
I'll
right.
post that in the chat real quick.
/
Here we
Thank
go
you.
for
Thank you.
everybody.
Killer, why don't you come join me? Oh, good morning. Come here.
Jay, you put in 3 questions, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure. Here comes the link, everybody. I'll pin
What
it.
is
as
your
well.
name?
Now, don't hit the synchronize now
Quest.
button until Ian
No.
tells you.
Right. So again, like last week, if you missed, we are calibrating it so it's in time with the stream for everybody. So we will count down and we
Wait,
will
I didn't
click.
get the link.
It's in the chat.
Just
you want- I'll put it in
darkenergy.biz.
the- I'll put it in the Zoom chat too.
And then
I'm
get
putting
to
in
the
the other
point where
chat.
it says synchronize now, and then wait there.
I see.
What are you syncing?
So I can click to play.
Yes, you can join, but don't click the button that says synchronize now.
And then I
Don't
can
do
click
it.
join game. I see. That's the timeline calibration. Oh, good morning, little man. Hey, W.
Okay, we have 300 people in so far.
Cool.
They'll keep
300.
300. So somebody asked in the chat what the name of my cat is. My cat's name is Sophie.
Hi,
Sophie.
Is she still in there?
Killer.
Or did
Yeah,
she
she
wander?
right now is walking under my legs and brushing her tail on my legs. That's one of her flirty things that she does with me.
Cats will do that.
Hey, Sophs.
Sweet.
I love her so much.
What the fuck? Little man sleepy.
So my dog and Steve's dog are best friends.
Yeah.
Oh, they love
that has
each
been
other?
established. They
Oh,
are.
They're
God.
the same age, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, they are.
We got
They,
them almost the same time.
So my dog equates getting in the car with seeing Sagan, Steve's dog, and he sits outside next to the car waiting for us to open the door.
Sweet.
Which I think
Adorable.
is really cute.
Killer's best friend recently was euthanized, and it was a very sad day.
No.
Yeah, he grew up with my best friend Kelly's little dog Kitson. We were roommates. Kitson's 4 years older, and she had to put him to sleep about a month ago. I don't think Killer knows.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think he's
he knows.
fully aware of what's happening. He didn't seem, we visited where they buried Kitson in the desert, and he didn't seem to give a shit. Whereas
Yeah.
Kitson's younger brother, because they just adopted a new dog before Kitson died, is very aware because he was there when they buried him. And he like flops around on the grave site and like acts very funny when he's near the grave.
Hmm,
That's
that's
nuts.
interesting.
Yeah, super interesting. I don't know if it's because he can smell him or because he does have a memory of that place. I mean, dogs
Smells
have amazing
something.
noses, so
Yeah.
but my dog's kind of dumb and sweet.
That's
And I don't think he's a
interesting.
very good bloodhound.
Not that we're going to talk about it here, but how a living thing's odor changes after death as it goes through
Yeah.
putrefaction, among other things, right?
Yeah.
Right, Bob? You know all about that.
This will be
Yes.
forever known as the morbid live stream. Let's get to the
All
quiz.
right, shall we
If I
synchronize?
had it my way, it
Okay.
always would be.
Okay.
So
You'll give us a
So,
countdown, right?
We have pretty much everybody in here, so some people are still trickling in. I'll count down and I'll say click, and everybody will click the calibrate button, and it should be synced up, and then we have to wait a bit.
Wait, so what
before-
does your countdown sound like? Is it 3, 2, 1, click, and we all hit on click?
Or do you want to hit after click?
On
On
click.
click.
Can I get
On
a
click.
30-second
On the
countdown,
end of
please?
one?
And,
Or
and
the
you're
end?
clicking. You're clicking.
No,
the
see, you're making it
synchronize
too
now
confusing.
button, right?
How about one E and
Oh my
for all you
god.
musicians? One E and There
Is
we
it 3, 2, 1, click?
When
Yes.
this random
Okay.
number generator hits 0,
go.
that's
Okay.
when we'll click.
Okay, everybody, here we go. 3, 2, 1, click.
Click.
I did
Wait,
it.
Do I
Said
click now?
Wait, yes. no, yes,
Steve. Good one.
Calibration
seconds
done.
behind.
I
Yeah,
said click.
you should be, if Ian does it correctly, you should be a few seconds behind.
Mine
Yeah.
says 3 seconds behind.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's about
I
as
also clicked it before
says 4.
because I do that intentionally.
Yeah, you're supposed to.
I am
Bastard.
3.14 seconds behind.
And so now we just have to wait for everybody else to catch up because Facebook is delayed by like 20 seconds and YouTube is something. So
Oh,
let's
boy.
just talk.
Yeah,
Wait,
we've got
t-
people saying 12 seconds.
Tell
There's something
Zuck. Tell
interesting.
Zuck he's got to fix that. All right.
No, they
but
don't
that's the
have
whole
low
point.
latency
It doesn't
yet.
matter because then we'll all be synchronized.
Correct.
Let me
matter how
text him.
behind
Right
you
now
are.
it doesn't matter. Right, with these platforms.
Mark.
You're
fix
texting
this
Zuck?
With I'm texting him now, Kara.
If somebody got an error, I think just what did Frank say? Refresh.
Refresh.
Yeah, we'll wait just for a little bit and get people clicking. Otherwise, when the game starts and if you don't have the correct calibration, it'll just switch, not relative to the stream. So just pay attention to the page and answer the questions. Don't wait for a prompt. That's the only problem if the calibration fails.
Right.
Right now, we have more people viewing us than ever before.
Whoa.
I
Wow.
think it's all because of this one.
How many, Jay?
Because of Killer.
I think
Yeah.
our last record was 1,030, and we have about 1,050 right now.
Also, that doesn't necessarily include Periscope, which is
That's true.
Twitter.
Periscope.
Yeah, 'cause it's weird.
Because
I
it's
make
weird.
that
I didn't realize we were on Periscope. Okay,
What's
now
it
it's,
for?
now it's different.
All right, here we go. And there should be audio with this. We added a
Really?
new element, which has a little bit of an audio.
Like an audio
timer
daily double in
thing.
Jeopardy?
Yeah.
I think so. We'll find out. All right, everybody. Yeah, if it says calibration not possible, just play along. You'll be off sync from the stream, but it's all good. Here we go. And starting. Okay, what percentage of the Earth is covered by water?
Oh, there.
The first choice is 65%. Second choice, 71%. Third choice, 82%. Fourth choice, 92%.
These numbers are close.
Ding,
Jeez.
ding,
It's
ding,
this
ding,
one.
ding, ding, ding. I should
It's
know.
tough.
Is it still to the point
These
where you
are too
can't
close,
change
these
it
numbers.
once you
It should be
click?
like
Oh, you can
one
change
per-
it
can
now.
change
Yeah,
it.
they
You can-
updated
1% versus 99%.
Answer
updated
closes
it.
in 2 seconds. 1.
Ah.
No, you're ahead of us, remember, Ian?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
right.
The correct
right.
answer.
Yes, that's right. 71%. Good job, everyone.
But wait, you got to be careful because some people are a full 20 seconds delayed.
No, but
Oops.
there's
So if
But
you
they
say
won't hear it.
71%,
Change my
They won't
answer.
hear it
they
oh,
won't hear it though.
You're right.
because
you're
they're,
right.
unless
Ah,
they're
'cause
listening
they're
to both at the
delayed.
same
Because they're
time.
synced.
The
Derp.
average depth of the ocean is about 2.5 miles. That's the average depth.
Is that
Interesting.
just
To the ocean
tidbit?
floor, I would imagine. Not
Well, when I was researching some of the questions, I had to learn a lot of stuff to find
gotcha?
a good question.
yeah.
All right, moving on to the next question.
That takes a while.
75% of the world's food stocks are made from 12 plants and 5 animal species.
Soylent, what?
22 plants and 15 animal species, 30 plants and 21 animal species, 47 plants and 50 animal species.
I love this question.
Yeah, I like it.
Only if I get it right.
Yeah, I like it more when it turns green.
Yeah, when you see the correct, yeah, that you picked correct.
Changing my answer.
I don't think I would have picked correctly if I had an answer.
Yay,
Yep.
I was right.
Yeah,
So keep
too.
this in mind. Keep this in mind.
I figured it was the smallest.
Selective breeding
Of
is the
course.
reason why we have a variety pack of food. Because 12 plants and 5 animal species is not a lot. It's just not a lot.
Yeah, but think about all the different ways you can eat beef and pork and chicken and fish and
Oh yeah, I mean,
lamb.
I totally get it, but I mean, but just think about it. Like we don't have hundreds of
about it.
plants that we've derived our food from. Like it was very few.
Well, there are hundreds of plants. It's just that if you look at calories, it's those 12, you know?
Yep.
All right, next
There we go.
question.
And it's if you go to up to 20, it's like 90%.
You're 10
Speaking
times
of
more
food-
likely to get bitten by a blank than a shark.
10 times.
New
Oh, I
Yorker.
hope the answer's New Yorker.
Bitten by a snake,
It could be.
bird, New Yorker, or raccoon.
I think a snake is thousands of times more likely.
Why are you saying that out loud?
Change
He's-
the
he's
answer.
messing
This
with
was
me like
on
he
our
does
show
in
not
science
that long
fiction.
ago.
No, that was death. That wasn't
Isn't
biting.
that funny? I mean, when I read this,
See that?
The show was about death, not bites.
I was hoping that everyone was going to think that the New Yorker was a joke.
Oh, and it was
No.
right.
Yeah.
I love it. I got it
Yeah.
wrong.
I
picked
totally
raccoon.
believe it. Totally.
Yeah, I picked
I
raccoon.
found
That
I
was
found
it.
another piece of information that I couldn't verify about raccoons. That raccoons are that they see the world more with their hands than with their eyes. 'Cause their
Really?
hands
Very
are-
handsy.
They're very
apparently,
bitey too. They bite is their
They are
go-to.
bitey.
Yeah,
But
that's
they're also
why I
handsome.
thought it was raccoon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're smart. Was it their neuronal density, Steve, was pretty high?
Yeah, very
All right,
high.
Here we
next
go.
question.
Dog,
Okay.
higher than a dog.
Which
Which
method of
method of
heart? Go
heat?
ahead.
Which method of heat transfer best describes a lava lamp? Conduction, radiation, convection, or condensation?
Oh, this is such a good question. Oh my God, Ian, good job.
Yeah, pretty cool.
I'm torn between two.
Is this
Torn
hard?
I'm
between
torn
two
between
lovers.
4.
Bob is like, is this
I'm
hard?
torn between 4.
No giving away the answer in chat.
Oh, No, damn, I got it wrong. I'm so.
The
come
answer's
on.
New
Think
Yorker.
about it.
That's right.
It's,
get it right.
it's the very embodiment of convection. I mean,
Exactly.
All right.
I just think of my oven with the thing in the back.
yeah.
Convection is the
damn it.
transfer of heat through a liquid by circulation of currents.
Yeah, for the circulation of the fluid. You just
I-
you're just colorizing it so that you could see it happening.
I love lava lamps.
Yeah.
They're one of the few things that have like this kind of repeat chaotic pattern that I love. I could just stare at them
Yeah.
for a long
But they're
time.
so tacky.
Total. chaos.
They're timeless.
Sure.
They're tacky. They're tacky in every decade.
They're timeless.
Yeah.
if you're
Right, exactly,
13.
Evan, exactly.
If you're consistently 13, they're great.
All right, next one. According to Apollo astronauts, the moon smells like
Ooh, I know that. Oh, the
1,
moon.
cheese, 2, gasoline, 3, burnt gunpowder, 4,
Why
coffee
does this sound
grounds.
familiar? Wasn't that
Yes.
book that Richard Wiseman was working on with that astronaut or something?
Yeah, no,
forget-
Evan, we talked to the guy in New
Right.
Zealand.
That's it. I was trying to remember
Man,
where
all I
I
know is
knew this.
space, not the
And
moon.
Okay, I'm
10 seconds.
guessing
Oh,
this.
we were in.
I hope I remember.
You're right, Karen.
Oh, it's because it's the same. Space and
Yeah,
the moon
it's the
smell the
same.
same.
Oh, that's right.
We smelled a moon rock.
That's right.
Mhm.
We
Don
did. We
Pettit, I
smelled the moon.
interviewed like years
That's
ago when I
right,
worked for
that's right, Jay.
HuffPost.
Well, we
And
smelled
I
some of
asked
the.
him, and he said, it smells like hot metal.
So
That's
the
how
We
answer
smelled
was
some of
burnt
the.
powder.
Didn't we smell something that was 4 billion years old?
That was a meteorite.
That was a little meteorite. Yeah.
yeah.
Ooh, it stunk. Ooh,
Right. It
take a
wasn't
bath.
nice.
I mean, after 4 billion years,
It
you're going to
didn't
stink
smell
too.
Good.
I don't think it smelled bad.
It,
Yeah,
oh,
it was.
God.
It was a little rank.
I didn't like it at all.
It's like barely there.
I
But
mean,
if you're
you
gonna
know,
catch like
it
a
didn't
weird
taste
alien
well.
disease, it's from that rock.
Didn't taste well either.
80%. Huzzah.
So, Carrie, you want to hear
Good
something
job.
pathetic?
What?
I wrote 3 of the 4 questions, and
you
I got
still-
3 of the 4 questions correct.
Well done. Well done, sir.
Nice.
Okay, I'm going to stop the game so we can see
Yeah,
the
I want to see
results
these
real quick.
comparison results.
Let's see what happens.
I totally love this quiz. I just love doing it. It's so much fun.
This one was my favorite because I got them all right.
right, there we
Yeah,
go.
right. Oh, you picked New Yorkers? I love that.
Yeah,
Oh,
let's see
wow. A
what the
lot of
results are.
people
Lots
So-
of people.
Highest.
did well.
We had
60%.
531, so just over half the people played the game.
Half.
Of
Yeah,
the people
everyone else doing?
actively
Other
on the
people
stream.
watching.
Yeah.
So okay, so this is where I'd like to know. So what was the first question? That was this: the 75% of the world's food stocks are made
No, it was the water.
No,
was
the
first
the
one.
ocean.
No, the first question was water. I'm
water.
surprised-
Okay, so most people got it right.
The only
No.
one that most people did not get right was New Yorker.
Mhm.
Most people chose
Right.
raccoon.
I chose
Oh,
raccoon.
I'm reading it
Raccoon.
correctly. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, New Yorker was hard. Most people picked the way I picked. And you,
So
Steve.
there's one incredibly smart person in Argentina who got all the questions correct. We had some.
Wow.
Fun.
Let's do a shout out to some of these countries here. We had
Yeah.
Argentina, Singapore, Spain, Mexico, Greece, Estonia, Serbia,
Estonia's back.
Yeah.
Romania, Slovakia, Germany, Denmark, Switzerland, France, Sweden, Finland, Poland, Ireland, UK, Netherlands, Norway, South Africa, Iceland, India, New Zealand, the United States, Canada, Australia, Costa Rica, Israel, Russia. What's that country?
It's probably Czech.
I think it's the Czech Republic.
The Czech Republic.
Yeah, I don't want to
Yeah.
mispronounce it because I don't want to
Czechia.
insult. Czechia.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And Brazil.
guys.
Now listen, Brazil.
Look at all these
You
countries.
came in last. You have to fight harder next week.
Well, if you look at where the U.S. ranks, I think it's probably about the same as our academic profile,
Yeah.
That's probably about right. Yeah.
unfortunately.
30th in the world or something.
Yeah. Let's get it
Hey, we-
together,
We
guys.
should separate the countries by continent.
This is
I can.
Wait, what?
In my
What a-
head, I
what a
can.
Countries by
fantastic
continent?
array of people all around the world. That is so cool.
Most
is so cool.
definitely.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
you
is
mean
just-
you want to know continent, like a division by continent?
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense because it's ranked.
who
by
cares about the
percentage, right?
To me,
I'm going-
it's cool about to the country. That's what makes it cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to Tunisia in 2027.
Wow, is that why? Is there a solar
How do you
eclipse?
know that
Oh,
already?
yes.
I know
August.
you so well, Evan. It blows my
Ooh.
mind.
Evan, 2027 is a really long time from now.
No, but this one's special. You know why? And there are a few other total solar
So
eclipses
it's
before
some
then.
sort
But
of
this
sex
one.
There's an eclipse
It's
like
a sex
next year in
convention.
Texas.
But what's special about Tunisia?
Huh.
It's a total eclipse of the heart.
They have that big sex convention.
Star Wars, maybe the Star Wars film set. They're going to be hosting viewing arrangements in Tunisia at the Star Wars sets.
I mean, so Evan, you didn't.
I mean, it's just like, bah, I'm so
Can't
there.
imagine.
Maybe I should tell Jay about this, so I would go. I want to go see those sets.
Well, you've got 7 years. I'm giving you a 7-year warning.
Bastard.
So,
Evan,
put
you
it in your
should
book.
have given me a better heads up than 7 years, dude.
Oh,
What's
sorry.
going
I
on?
totally
Evan,
fell
remind
down.
me again 1 month ahead of time.
Yeah, right?
I will ignore it till then.
So let me give you guys. Let's shift away from the quiz. I wanted to tell everyone about a consumer protection situation that I've become aware of.
Okay, I think now before you jump in, I think I have to jump out.
Okay.
All right, bye, Kara.
Okay.
Bye,
Good luck
Kara.
on your
We'll
test.
see you
Everybody.
next
Good
week.
luck on your test.
Okay, bye.
Be negative.
Make sure you
be
study.
negative.
I'm gonna
Bye,
study
killer.
for my brain
Study hard.
swap. All right,
Actually,
bye,
we have a
everyone.
video
Bye.
question from
COVID
a
is with
young
a C,
viewer.
not a K.
What, Ian?
Okay.
We have a video question from a young viewer if you want to hear it.
A video
Yeah,
question.
let's do it.
B?
It's about
Before I go?
dreams.
Have you ever had a dream that
Can you hear it?
that you
Yeah.
you had you could you do you want you could do so you do you want him to do you so much you could do anything?
Oh my
That
god!
was
I'm in
Wait,
love.
save that.
Is that somebody
love
that
that.
is listening to the? Is that
No.
really somebody's
no,
kid right now?
it's a meme. It's a meme.
Oh, it's a meme.
That
You
that
got
was so
Jay.
epically.
I'll
Damn
send you.
it!
If we had
Thanks a lot,
access
Ian.
to that kid,
I had to.
I would bring that kid on the show in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
He kind of sounds like Dylan.
I want that. Send me that
Except with
file.
stop it.
Ian.
Yeah,
All
I'll
right,
send it.
bye everyone.
Bye,
Bye,
Kara.
Kara.
I,
All
Wash
right,
your
so
hands.
here's a quick story for you guys. So my mother-in-law last year bought a group ticket. You know, it's like a tour of Italy, right, with her friends. And they did it because they didn't want to have to deal with all the arrangements. And there's you could get tours that are actually good and they're worthwhile. So she buys this tour, and then 8 months later, COVID hits. So now they're locked in like this waiting pattern to find out what's happening to their trip in October. And the guy that runs the travel agency has decided that he's not going to cancel the trip, that he's going to delay the trip a year, which voids anybody getting their money back. So her group emailed him and was saying, we want our money back because it's a year away. First off, we don't know if COVID is still going to be a problem for travel next year. And second of all, you've got our money. Like, you have control of all of that money, which is terrible. So the guy writes back and says that he's not giving them their money back, the deposit part of their money, which is like a quarter of the money, because he's losing money on the deposits. So I did some investigation this afternoon, and I called up the hotels that he claimed were not giving the deposits back in Italy. And guess what they all said? They don't take deposits from that specific company. They don't request deposits. There has been no deposit given on the rooms that he said he couldn't get his deposit back. So the guy flat out lied.
Whoa.
So I happened to call the guy. He didn't pick up, but I called this company, and I'll update you the next time I have information. But I'll probably try to call the guy after the stream tonight to let him know that I spoke to all the hotels, and he's a liar. I'm so angry at this because these trips are largely filled with senior citizens. And he is flat out scamming them at this point. He's not giving them their refund. He's refusing to cancel the trip because of COVID, because of fake deposits that he made. So it's a scam. And I'll tell you, after I talk to the guy, if he doesn't do the right thing, I will tell you the name of the company on the show.
You'll dox him.
Yep.
Should we take some questions?
Sure.
Yeah.
A few minutes?
Yes, we should.
Ian, hit us up.
Sorry, I was muted. Is there any valid medical or sports use for athletic tape, kinesio tape, beyond the unscientific claims of pain reduction, greater blood flow, etc.?
Kinesio tape is 100% scam. It doesn't do anything. The using, like, taping a joint or a limb or whatever can help support the joint, can help with stability. But that's basically it, right? There's no magic to like putting it in the patterns that you see it in, That's just all nonsense. And there's no scientific evidence to support the claims that people make for kinesio tape.
It doesn't give support to what they say it's supporting. That's it. It doesn't work.
That's for sure.
Yep. Next question.
Okay, so another one is about another product. It claims, it's called Food Marvel, I believe. They claim to be able to measure your digestion by having you breathe into the device. Is that something
Measures digestion?
Right,
what is measuring digestion? How is that measured?
Yeah, exactly.
So, obviously, if you breathe into a device and it has the ability to detect certain chemicals, that's like a breathalyzer, right? That's a legitimate technology, and that can have medical applications. Now, this specific application sounds vague and therefore dubious, so I don't know what that means. What exactly are they measuring? What is it a marker for? How are they using that information? So this is, the bigger issue here, and this is the source of a lot of scams, right? A lot of alternative medicine crap nonsense, is that the idea that because you're measuring something that it's therefore a useful test, right? But in medicine, you not only have to measure something, you have to prove that what you're measuring has meaning and has the specific meaning that you're importing to it, right? And that it predicts something. It predicts something about what further workup you need, or what treatment you need to get, or your prognosis, or something. So until it's tied to predicting some clinical outcome, it's not a validated test. You're just measuring stuff, But it's very easy to just skip all those steps and just say, we're measuring whatever, and then make up, just hand-waving make-up crap about what you think therefore it means. And you're basically selling hypotheses which may be plausible or ridiculous as if they're proven validated tests. This is a big problem in medicine in general. It's not just all black or white. It's easy to use a test because you like numbers, and there is that bias. Like, I'll give you an example. And physicians do this too, in that you can fall for this. So, like, for example, one disease that I manage where this comes up a lot is myositis, right? So inflammation of the muscle, where that's the primary disease. The disease is the inflammation in the muscle. You can check the CPK, which is a muscle enzyme, and that will be elevated in people with myositis, and that's very diagnostic. But then people will use the CPK to follow how a patient is doing and how they're responding to treatment, right? Because they want to see the number come down. But the evidence shows that that's not a good way to follow patients with myositis, and it doesn't predict anything. That what you need to follow is their strength on exam. But people like numbers, and they like following numbers. So unless you're an expert, you may mistakenly follow the number and treat the number. And that's often we have to say, don't treat the number. Do not treat the number. That's in this specific case, it's not the outcome measure that predicts a response to treatment. Sometimes you do treat the number, so that sometimes it makes sense. But you have to know in each specific instance what the evidence shows. And so that's sort of a more nuanced, sort of subtle thing that even a physician could make a mistake in if they're not, expert enough in that particular disease. But when we're talking about a lot of these, dubious alternative medicine or just fly-by-night private companies selling you stuff, like, genetic testing, it's going to tell you about your predisposition to disease. Is it really going to tell you anything that's going to predict how you should live your life or change your eating habits or whatever? They haven't closed the loop on that. They're just selling false hope at that point. They're just selling speculation, plausible sounding or no. And they're skipping over all the research that's necessary to know that it's actually predicting something,
All right, next question.
Okay. Well, a couple of things from the chat on YouTube for glasses wearers. Steve, have you figured out any way to keep your glasses from fogging up while wearing a mask?
I just have to really, really tighten the wire over the nose, but it's hard. It's got to really be a tight seal because the mask fits pretty tightly elsewhere, so it's leaking all over, and it leaks enough underneath the eyes that it fogs up my glasses. So if I put my glasses on the end of my nose, that works. Or if I really tighten the wire over my nose so the air goes down, that works.
So I talked to a nurse a few days ago, and I asked her that question, and she said you take your mask and you put a paper clip on the loops, right? So here, I know this is when wearing black doesn't help, but here, here's my loop. You take a paper clip and you loop the two loops with the paper clip, and then you've got to wear it low. So it pulls more tightly over here, and that'll help the air not come out the top because it's all coming from the air when you exhale, and you have to breathe through your mouth. That supposedly helps a lot, in and out.
Yeah, I also find if I exhale slowly, that helps.
Yeah,
I think that the air will escape more below. If I exhale quickly, it goes out everywhere.
Is there anything particularly special about Lysol with regard to COVID-19, or at least killing it?
They've shown that it's
Lysol's good. The name says it all. It lyses membranes, right? And it lyses all. That's what the name means. And that's what we use in labs. We use Lysol.
Yeah.
If we want to make sure we kill every bug on the countertop, it's a good cleaner to use. It's for external.
It's better than a wipe, or
it's for things only. You don't use it on yourself, and don't
wipe
drink
your
it,
face with it or something, right?
But if you're cleaning a countertop, it's great. It's great.
Wow, I haven't used it that way.
I have Lysol right over there.
Another person was asking if the pandemic was a flu virus rather than coronavirus. We would be in a better place regards to speed of vaccine.
Probably not, because we might have a. I think it would probably be just as quick because assuming we can get a coronavirus vaccine by the end of the year, that's about how long it would take to make a flu virus vaccine. But the problem with the flu is that it mutates and therefore there's multiple strains, and so. The vaccine would probably not be as effective because, like the flu vaccine, we were constantly chasing it, and sometimes the effectiveness is decreased because it's evolved to a different strain before we get that year's flu vaccine out. So we wouldn't want to have that problem. I think once we get a vaccine for COVID, it'll probably be more stable and effective than the flu vaccine, and. We don't know how long it's going to take yet, right? Because we don't have one yet. But there are a lot of companies working on it. There are multiple companies working on multiple different vaccines and making progress. The animal studies are going well, but it's all going to come down to those clinical trials, and so we'll know in 6 months.
I heard just earlier today about a nasal spray that's been tested. That at least in vitro killed 90% of the virus, which it's only a petri dish, but they're really ramping up.
Bob, talking to your microphone.
I am, man. It's right here.
Yeah.
That sounds looks like we gotta have a lot of what's the expression? Pokers in the fire. Is that it?
Yeah.
Irons in the fire.
Irons in the fire. Hopefully something will hit soon.
All right, it's 6:23. So we would like to thank everyone that came to the live stream tonight. Thanks. We love having a turnout, and we had our largest audience tonight. So thank you for that. We'd also like to thank our patrons for supporting us, especially during, the global hard times that everyone is going through. So thank you, patrons. If you haven't considered coming to Nexus this year, Nexus is 3 weeks from tonight. That's the game show night for Nexus. Mm-hmm. I would like you to reconsider because Nexus is going to be a blast this year. Our lineup is complete. We have been working on this amazing game show. I don't want to have any spoilers other than it's going to be awesome. We're going to surprise you with how awesome it is. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then, that's Friday night. And on Saturday, it's going to be an entire day of fun lectures and other types of entertainment. We have some cool things happening. We have 2 panels. We have a special section by George Robb that's going to talk about Ringo Starr. We're going to have Leanne Lord do comedy stand-up. We have Andrian as our keynote, which will be happening later in the afternoon. Cool. And a lot of other things that are a lot of fun. We find, I think you'll find it very entertaining and information rich, which Steve always likes and makes sure that that's happening, right? Steve just doesn't want it to be funny. He wants it to actually educate people.
I have a call. Bye, guys.
Bye, Steve.
Bye, guys.
So
Bye,
go
Steve.
to nexus.org, necss.org. Please.
Make it work. Oh well. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll just text it to them.
Yeah, Ian, tell them that they can watch it after the conference is over.
Oh wait, I think we're back.
Are we back?
Yeah. There we go. That's it. Okay, Steve did mute us all, but we're back for a moment. So make sure you go to nexus.org to find out more about Nexus. Also, there's going to be a VR component, which we are moving forward with. I mean, they've been working on it, the devs in the background, and we can confirm that it is a go for Nexus. We are going to show some more stuff this week in terms of where you can sign up and all that kind of fun stuff. So that'll be fun if you're into VR chat, whether or not you have a VR headset or you want to use mouse and keyboard, you can use that. The only thing you can't use is the Oculus Quest. Boom. If you have that. So that's it.
All right, so we'll see you guys next week.
Okay.
Good night, guys.
Skeptic's Guide to the Universe is produced by SGU Productions, dedicated to promoting science and critical thinking. For more information, visit us at theskepticsguide.org. Send your questions to info@theskepticsguide.org. And if you would like to support the show and all the work that we do, go to patreon.com/skepticsguide and consider becoming a patron and becoming part of the SGU community. Our listeners and supporters are what make SGU possible.